Hello and welcome to Card Shop Insiders, a podcast where we combine decades of experience from both sides of the counter to take you inside the business of local game stores and collectible gaming hobbies. I'm Noah, and I play games, lots of them.
God, you sound so professional. You know that? I'm John, and I'm the shop owner and a 25-year industry veteran.
With our combined perspectives, we are ready to take you inside, so let's go ahead and jump in. John would like to add a disclaimer.
All right. Again, my views are only about how I run my business from my perspective. We get feedback from a local customer base, which I do appreciate. A lot of people say, hey, they like the podcast, they like the content. They give us suggestions and things like that. And then one girl came in the other day with two of her friends, and they came in 3.5 hours away to play in the Lorcana event. And I've known this girl since she was a little kid. And she said, John, I started listening to your podcast. And she said, it's great. She said, it's good information, stuff like that. I said, well, I appreciate it, Anna. And evidently, Anna works at the card shop up in the mountains where they came from. I think she works part-time and she helps them out. The guy that bought the business up there is 50 years old or something. And this is his first venture into the card shop type of environment. Well, she said, I shared it with the owner of the store. And he said, oh, it's a bunch of bullshit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's his perspective against my perspective. But again, I've been doing this for 24 years, 7 months longer than he's been doing it. And I think I've been doing a halfway decent job. So it's up to him. If he doesn't want to listen to some of the suggestions, that's fine. But that card shop up where they're speaking from about has had multiple owners over the year. So they're not doing something right. So that's just...
Well, they're just not as committed to the industry as you are, John.
I'm ranting in my own little way today because it kind of not pissed me off that he was criticized. Now it's a bunch of bullshit, but I don't think he knows enough to make those kind of statements because he just got involved in this kind of business.
I think it's an absolutist kind of position to take to say that it's not valuable, even though it doesn't agree with whatever he thinks. I think, don't we know that there's something like 9 out of 10 small businesses fail in the United States?
Yeah.
And what we've talked about so far in our podcast is how you started a small business that was doing one thing. You found an opportunity, you pivoted your business, then you restructured and built around the card games that we now use and know and love. Well, I love, you sell. And we can learn from that experience in lots of different ways. I don't think we've said yet on this podcast that you have done this right.
Of course not.
Or that you have done it the only way that one can be successful.
No.
And I think, especially from some of our business plan and business model episodes where we've talked about concepts that go into starting a store, we've tried to be very clear that people have a lot of options about how they can do this, and that maybe listening to your experience and this discussion you and I have can help people be successful in trying to join this business community.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
But somebody like that's like, look, that's all nonsense and I'm not going to listen to it. That's okay.
That's up to him. Yeah. It's his business to run as he sees fit. And it's kind of funny because I had a kid to come in yesterday that is one of my customers, and I haven't seen him in a while. And he was telling me he wanted to open up a bar, gaming space, but he couldn't find something where he lives that was reasonably priced for rent. I mean, it was outrageous, some of the numbers he was getting. So he decided he's going to open up a card shop about 30 miles from here, 35 miles from here, which is all well and good. I mean, it's out of my immediate, area as far as my customer base, but he's in my opinion, in a tougher customer base with more competition. And I mentioned it to him. He said, well, they don't do anything. I said, they've been in business longer than I have, so they got to be doing something right. And then he was asking me about distributors. He said, do you get everything from one distributor? I said, oh, no. I said, you got to get multiple distributors. And he said, well, I'm going to start carrying one piece. And I looked at him. I said, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
I said, there's two primary distributors that handle it, GTS and Alliance Games. And I said, you have to order 6 months in advance. So even if you were to order now for the next set that's coming out, and say you ordered 24 boxes, you might get 2 because you're low on the totem pole. And his face just dropped. I'd like to see him succeed. I really would, because he's a nice kid. He just got married not too long ago, and he's got ambition. But knowing him over the years, he's very impulsive. And he's going to have a tough go of it. But fortunately, I think he's got some grandma backing as far as.
Hey, the start a small business requires a good plan and a good amount of money, and the first place you're supposed to go is your family. So, I mean, if he's got that and he has the durability to make it through some ups and downs to start it off, I mean, good luck to him. I think that our podcast could be a good resource for him. And
yeah, but
your friendship. So.
Another problem is, and getting back to this magazine article from that I was talking about last week, ICV2, which is. It's called Internal Correspondence. It's a gaming magazine, and it analyzes the business. The TCG market is settling down. So he's getting in on the downside right now. And if he's just going to rely on just, a certain number of games without any ancillary products in it, he's going to have a tough go of it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And again, I've known him for years. He's a good kid. So if he's come in and asked me for my advice, I'll give him my advice. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. All right. What's next on our list there, Noah?
I thought we'd go to the news. We like to start with the news.
All right.
And you did want to talk. Do you want to talk more in depth about the article from last week and about the down market and the card game space?
Actually, I do. And again, this is from this magazine. And I had more of an opportunity to go through all the articles in here. The TCG market, and it's also called a CCG. It's the exact same thing. It's just a matter of the way it's called. I mean, I got on, looked it up this morning. Collectible card games is also called a trading card game, TCG. For instance, Magic the Gathering is a TCG. Pokemon is a TCG. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a TCG. However, Lorcana is a CCG. It's all the same damn thing. It's just the way they market it. That's basically it. Because people always say, what's a CTG? What's a TCG? And it even got confusing to me until I looked it up and printed it out, and the rest is history. All right, so going back to this article, let me see. If it said staying close to the COVID peaks, which was between 2019 and 2021, I guess. If the market sustained, it would be a huge win for the TCG market. Sales more than doubled. Here it is, between 2019 and 2023, from $745 million to $1.55 billion. So it doubled during that period of time. While some of it may have come from squeezing more money from the existing customer base, a lot of the increase had to come from increases in the number of people buying, collecting, and playing TCGs. And of course, the government assistance at that time, especially some of the younger kids, they had more money and they spent it. Engaging in retaining those customers while finding ways to broaden the market even further has become the order of the day for retailers, distributors, and publishers in 2014. So they're trying to maintain the momentum, and it's not happening. It's no longer a situation during the heights of the pandemic when the market would absorb whatever quantities publishers were able to get shipped from overstretched printers. The goal now is to supply as many players and collectors as possible without appearing to glut the market. Yeah, hello, goodbye with that one. And with constant new entrants into the market and choices to be made at retail about which games to support, that's a moving target. Publishers are approaching this problem with different directions or from different directions, some reducing their SKU count, others shipping quantities allocated below orders, and still others shipping retailers what they are ratcheting overprints in and what they hope will be the right direction. And then it talks about the legacy of the big three, Pokemon, Wizards, and uh, uh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah, brain fart. And about what their strategy is. Wizards just keeps pumping stuff out. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has brought back a little bit. They're not producing as much. And I think even Pokemon has slowed down just slightly. I'm not 100% sure because I don't follow that market as well. Because most of the people come in, they buy at Walmart and mass marketers. Let me see. Another thing that I noticed in here. Let me see. Yeah, the publishing inventory overhang has been one reason why they've seen increased competition from direct to consumer sales by publishers, and that's a reason why it's difficult to move more excess inventory from the stores right now. More and more manufacturers are selling their own products online, and it makes it difficult if stores overstock and have to get rid of things. And one guy said, we're now competing from the very company we bought from too much stuff. And these companies, the publishers, are the card manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, in my opinion, they're putting, I don't know, that they're taking away from the distribution network. They're taking away from the retail market as far as the stores by selling online. And I think I mentioned it last week. I could buy some Wizards product online from the Wizards online store that I could buy from the distributor. And I think that's wrong. But that's my own personal opinion. And it's up to the distributors to deal with Wizards and whoever else they have to deal with. But that's what's going on in the market. So the market's kind of in a state of flux. It's stable. It's gone down a little bit, but not to the point where everybody should panic. However, stores that are used to doing this much or may not be doing this much. So you're going to see people being laid off. And when people are laid off in this market or this industry, you're going to see less customer service. And you're going to see, I don't know. I don't know exactly how to say this, but the stores that are really just getting by are going to have to be careful because there may not be enough of a market for them to sell their products to stay viable, especially if your rent's real high and you have to maintain that rent and overhead every month. And getting back to what I said originally, long time ago, is watch your overhead. Don't arbitrarily. One guy came in the other day and he said, "Oh, this store is going from a 1,400 square foot store to a 3,400 square foot store." I don't know if it's a good time to do that. However, they sell beer and alcohol, so maybe that's why they're doing it.
Well, I mean, we've talked about diversifying income streams, and maybe that's something to talk about more specifically in the future. But I think if you build your business's strategy or your business plan around the retail sale aspect of this card store, it is discouraging to find the producers are competing with you.
Yeah.
Like, it makes it really hard for you to be competitive in the market, which makes your margin smaller, which means you have to sell more. And how do you sell more? If you're a really small store and you're focused on a local community, you kind of have a cap on what you're going to sell, each time a new set comes out. If you are willing to commit the resources to being an online presence, you can do that. But it takes a lot of time and effort that we've talked about. And so it's balancing all those competing things, adding, drink or food sales being an event center or a public play space and trying to monetize that aspect. And those things are stuff that we've discussed before. But I think it's interesting to hear from the article that there's kind of some metrics that are available, at least to the magazine editors there, that show that there's kind of a downturn in the popularity of these things. And it may be that these couple of new games that we've been excited about are hitting the market at an inopportune time because they are coming out into a decline. You know, if these games had been released in 2019, we might have something different.
Yeah.
But
then again, you wouldn't have been able to have the number of people in the store like we're doing.
Well, and I think that goes to the classification of a game as being like a TCG versus a CCG. You know, I think it shows a little bit that like Disney and Ravensburger want to categorize Lorcana as a CCG because they have some really collectible components to that game that they try to emphasize and they're trying to push. You know, they've got serialized gold prize cards. They've got special promo products that come out in different contexts. They've got a new card, the new set that you can only get from buying a board game. Mm-hmm. It's an alternate art. It's a card that's in the set normally, but there's an alt art version of it that's only going to be in a board game that you have to buy at Target. So, and you get one of them in the pack. So you want to do a full play set with the alt art. You're buying 4 of those. It'll be interesting to see like how that affects, you know, market pricing for that.
It's going to be interesting to see how this entire market is going to ramp up to the holiday season. Yeah. The holiday season is going to be the important one because the holiday season at the end of 2023 saw the downturn. And that's where it started, not spiraling, but it started to slowly decline. And the first quarter of 2024 was where the decline was evident, very evident. So, and if anybody wants to look at this magazine, you can get it online. Let me give you how to get to it. It's http://www.I, capital I that is, capital C, small v, 2.com. And that'll get you to their website. And you can subscribe to it. I think you can subscribe to the whole. They come out with a monthly thing too, and it's kind of expensive though. And I get this magazine free as a store owner. So if you're a store owner, you can log in as a store owner and fill in the information, and you'll get one of these in the mail every. It used to come out quarterly, but now it's every year.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate you sharing that resource with our listeners. I think that's a cool thing for them to be able to look at and listen to. And I think the wisdom from that article is kind of insight into the industry and sharing some information about how like the economy and market are affecting stores like ours and those around the country. Let's move into the news a little bit deeper, though, and let's talk about our couple of games. Which one do you want to start with? You want to start with Star Wars?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right, so I got a couple of things I put on the news slot for Star Wars. I'll start with the Gen Con exclusive promos. They made a big announcement last week. There's a special box of promo cards. I think it's 6 promo cards. They've got this all-black alternate artwork. It's really, really awesome looking that you can only buy at the conventions. San Diego Comic-Con, Gen Con, PAX East, PAX West, and Spiel. And I think they're like $100 a pop.
The hell is Spiel?
It's German. It's the German board gaming convention.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, but that's the only one in Europe. So there's 4 chances in the U.S. to pick up these promos. I think it's going to be hugely in demand. I think people may camp out or try to stay at or near the venues overnight to try to get in the front of the lines.
Do you think it's going to be a crush like it happened for Lorcana last year?
There could be. I mean, last year's Gen Con videos of the Lorcana debacle, I think, could be repeated with this. I think there's no information that I've seen yet about like supply, like how many are there going to be and when are they going to sell out. And I think people are going to want these cards. There's some cool ones. At this time, they're releasing 2 cards that are from the 3rd Star Wars set, which isn't even released yet. So there's 2 cards from 1st, 2nd, and 3rd set in this pack. It's a cool pack. I mean, the art's awesome. I think it's a great product. I don't know how it affects a store like ours. You don't ever have a chance to sell this unless you buy it off of somebody else.
No, that's not going to happen.
But it's an interesting development in terms of how Star Wars is dealing with promos. We had talked about it before, that I thought Star Wars promos weren't as cool maybe as the Lorcana ones. These Gen Con exclusive promos are better than any of the Enchanteds that I've seen in a Lorcana profile. So
that should be interesting. Getting back to Star Wars again, this magazine, I actually forgot this part. It talks about the Star Wars Unlimited TCG from Asmodee and how they kind of screwed it up initially, which was launched in quantities at fraction of a demand and no reprints planned until the holiday season coming up. To compound issues, the organized play kicked off with significant problems. That's the dumpster fire, their organized play. And that's from one of the bigger store owners. Their organized play software can't even handle the format that they've got. They just got to put the effort or the importance on the organized play programs that they need to. And we've talked about that before. And we've talked about the shipping issues at the distributor level.
yeah,
Even the weekly play kits were late getting to the distributor. They finally, my distributor shipped them out. They could have shipped them out Thursday. I think they got it, but it wouldn't have mattered. So I said, put them in my regular order on Monday. So they're shipping today. They've already made it on the truck, I think. So I'll get them on Wednesday to have them available for this weekend to start the second round of the weekly play with, the promo packs, which everybody's been asking for.
Well, people like the promo packs. It's alternate art. It's special. There's a limited number of them. People like those, and they're cool. I think that assessment is a little bit harsh on the organized play. I think that they produced a really cool product. I think demand is there for people to get in store and play because they want the OP packs. And I don't think that their software is...
It sucks.
But it's not the linchpin that decides if their OP program is fine.
No.
Their software might stink, but their OP program is fine.
Yeah, but the problem is with their software, you've got to report the numbers on their software in order to make or sustain viability as a store.
Right.
And that determines how much product you get and how many of these support kits that you're able to buy.
Yeah.
So if they don't have, they're relying on us to use ancillary software like Melee or Top Deck, to run our programs. Then we have to get into their software, their proprietary software, which isn't worth a damn, and to report the numbers, which is it's difficult on a store owner.
You even want to talk about that. Top Deck, which we had to use as an alternative for our store championship, wasn't even formatted for a store championship. A pre-release, sorry, not the store championship. So we had a bunch of trouble setting that up because it couldn't accept the fact that we were doing a sealed tournament. But we figured it out and made it work.
Yeah,
but
at a cost of $120 a year for that damn software too.
Yeah, but you've run like 5 tournaments off of it already.
Yeah, well, it's not going to happen next year. I'll do it in my mind.
Other Star Wars news, though, I don't know if you've seen this, and I haven't had a chance to open enough product to be able to confirm this, but if you look at the YouTube videos of box openings, allegedly you can see a pattern, and it's pretty easy to map all of the sequencing for the printings.
I didn't see that.
Which is a big problem for the consumer. A store like you, where I understand and trust your integrity and don't think that you're going through and picking out good boxes, bad boxes. But it's important to open sealed, like factory sealed boxes as a private consumer if you're getting them off of the internet or something, because people can open a box, they can open the top pack or two, and then using this box mapping that people are putting together on the internet, you can know every single rare that's going to be in the box.
So in other words, when I open up the box and put it on the shelf, I should shuffle the packs.
You can't. That would help people avoid. But you also mix packs between boxes as boxes get
I do,
lower.
But sometimes I'll shuffle them too because there are some astute players, and not only in Star Wars, but from other games that will come in and, is that a new box? Yeah. And they'll count down the number on the right side, count down the number on the left side. I'll buy these 2 packs. And, if the box has been pre-opened before they got here, I'll say to them, doesn't matter where the hell you pick them. I shuffled them anyway. And then they kind of look, oh,
Yeah, but that's the thing. And dishonest stores are doing this, where especially like single pack sales on the internet are suspect to this.
Yeah.
Because stores can open up a box, they can use the box map to pull the packs that have the really good cards in it, and then they just put the rest of the packs up for sale.
Or they weigh them in certain instances. I've seen people other store owners weighing packs. I've seen other store owners actually resealing packs.
Ugh.
And I've seen other store owners resealing them into film before the companies put the logo on the stretch wrap that goes over it. They had a shrink machine. They're easy to buy. They're a couple $100.
Yeah. That kind of toxic disrespect of your customer is just terrible. Yeah. I'm grateful to shop at a store where we don't have that problem. But I think if you're buying online, people that are listening to this, just be careful. Like, individual pack sales of this game are not trustworthy. You can't honestly think that big sellers online have not looked at these box maps. Of course they have. Pulling this stuff. But
let me ask you a question. Have you noticed that there's more of the showcase cards in this set? More people are pulling them. Have you noticed that compared to the first set?
More people. So of the 5 or 6 people that I got to talk to, the set release was during the Lorcana set championship, so I didn't get to talk to all the Star Wars guys that came in to pick up their stuff. But of the people I've talked to, more than one of them has opened a showcase. And prior to this set release, we had not seen a showcase opened by a box that was bought from your store.
Right.
Like, I think there's at least 5 now for set 2.
Well, that's good. They needed to do that.
Right. I don't think I think there's a statistical element to it. Like, it was what, 1 in 13 boxes was supposed to be a showcase card. I think that's a fine distribution, but I think when, like, you sold 26 boxes worth of product,
and we didn't get any showcase.
Nobody opened a showcase.
Yeah.
At least not that said anything about it.
Yeah. Well, again, it's a possibility that somebody opened one up and didn't know what the hell they had and still have it and still don't know what they have.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we opened a lot of packs. Like, people opened boxes in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody pulled one.
You opened up a lot of packs.
A couple of packs. All right, Lorcana. Let's talk set championships. Ours went pretty well, but it went late.
It went late because we had 22 players. We started at 2:00 promptly, and with 5 rounds and 3 rounds of top 8 and so forth, it went to about a little after 9.
Yeah.
So it was a late night. We've learned from it. Next time we're going back to 12:00. We're going to start. I'm going to reduce the number a little bit from. I had it at 24. I'm going to reduce it back to 16, and that'll allow us to do 4 Swiss rounds and then cut to the top 4. So that's going to reduce it by 2 rounds. And by starting at 12:00, if you project that out, we'll be done by 5:30, 6:00.
Yeah, I like that a little bit better. I think it's cool to play in big tournaments, but we're playing, this is a set championship for our local shop. I don't think we need to try to, like, bump the numbers up really big.
Right.
I look forward to playing in the next one, though. We had a really good time. My whole family played again. Everybody did well. My kids had some individual goals, and they met them in terms of what they were going to win and do.
Who did the best in your
My
family?
Wife. Very, very excited.
Let me ask that again. Who did the best in your family?
My wife. She got top 8.
I was proud of her.
She played a really good match in her top 8 round. A good friend of ours was able to take the match against her. It was a little unfortunate they had to be paired with each other in top 8, but it was fun for her to be able to have him play And it was a really good experience, I think, for all of us. She had a lot of fun. We all did. And it was really good to be in the store and play with everybody that we know.
Well, the only problem we had was reporting errors. And I don't know if it was intentional or not intentional. So we're going to have to look at that in the future.
Yeah.
You had suggested, sheets, what do you,
Like paper match slips.
Right. To report the results to us, or having, announcing it, telling everybody, be quiet for a minute. This is this is what the results are. And I just want you to verify it before we pair the next round. Yeah. So I'm going to look at that very carefully, because even though there was a reporting issue, it really didn't affect the top 8. These two people were 10th and 11th or something like that, and they would have transposed numbers.
Right.
So it wouldn't have made any difference. Another thing that bothers the hell out of me is people dropping. And I know there's not a hell of a lot we could do about it. They get discouraged. They lose 1 or 2 rounds. They say, that's it. Or somebody comes in and says, well, I really have to go because I have, I have an appointment. Well, why the hell did you come in and start playing to begin with?
Yeah, it's a little different than League Week, where you show up and say, I can only play for an hour. I have some empathy for people that go like X and 2 and say they're going to drop. We talked about this tournament went till 9 at night if you stayed for the whole thing. If you stopped after the Swiss rounds, the tournament went till almost 7.
Right.
And so I can empathize if you've played the first 2 rounds and you've lost both rounds and you don't want to be here for another 5 hours, you drop.
I understand that. But it screws up.
But we did have somebody that explicitly said, I had other plans that can't stay anymore. And that kind of drop really frustrates me.
Yeah.
Like, fine, if you've lost and you're out, you're already messing up people's tiebreakers because you're losing.
Well, see, that's the problem. It screws up the metrics with the tiebreakers and things like that. And this software that we had to use, Melee, is the same one that Wizards uses for their large tournaments.
Yeah.
So in addition to the total points, it factors out 3 places: opponent match win percentage, player match win percentage, and some other kind of percentage. So it's pretty specific as far as the way it factors it out. And by people dropping, it hurts those statistics.
That's only if you assume that the people that dropped were going to win any games after that. I mean, if you think about it, if you've gone 0-2 and you're dropping out of the tournament, you might pick up a win later, but you've already you're already hurting the people that you've played.
Well, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. But...
And the hardest thing about those tiebreakers is that your kind of path could be really affected by your first round pairing. You get paired with the first time player that's never played before in the first round, and they're going to go 0-5, and you beat them. Your tiebreakers are going to be worse than the guy that got paired with the other person that's going to make top 8 in the first round.
How do you feel about intentional draws? Is that because I know some games...
There's a complicated set of rules about how you present the intentional draw, but at a store championship, I don't think anybody's really interested in enforcing that super hard.
Is it enforceable at the big Lorcana events, for instance?
If the judges at a big Lorcana event hear you presenting that in the wrong way, they'll disqualify people.
Well, because a possible collusion? Is that...
Yeah. The rule, I believe, if I recall it correctly, and I'd have to look it up to be really specific, but I think the rule, the general idea is that you can't offer something for the concession or for the draw. So you can't say hey, I'll split my prizes with you if we draw. That's not how it's supposed to roll.
It's kind of funny because I've noticed it in Magic. I have some players who do well and some players who do exceptionally well.
Mm-hmm.
So if the exceptionally well player is matched against the person who does well, and they both have the same rating going into the final round, the non-exceptional player will try to convince the other player, well, let's take an ID so we both get packs. We both get the same number of packs. You can have the promo card. And I get a kick out of that because he doesn't want to lose it. Because if he loses, he'll get bumped down to 3rd or 4th, and he'll get less number of packs.
No, I mean, I think that's the math that people are doing. It's like, if I play this game and lose, like, I'm out, or I'm not going to get this. But we could make a deal and split and things like that. And it's a little complicated. I don't know. I think it's an ethically gray space to get into, but if you're the top two, like the top two in our tournament, they did an ID in the last round because there was no way they weren't going to make top 8. So they didn't want to play each other, and they drew.
However, well, it would have impacted the way the top 8 was factored in then.
Yeah, because the top 8 was seeded, but they were still 1 and 2.
They would have made it to the top 8, but their rankings in the top 8 would have been different. So they may have played other players than they were going to be playing in the top 8.
Yeah, I mean, one of the two guys that drew came in runner-up, and the other guy lost in the first round of top 8.
Right.
So, I mean, it didn't help very much.
But it could have.
It could have. I mean, it could have made it so that my wife got to play somebody different and won the game.
True. That's right. That's right. Exactly right.
But I don't. Honestly, if we had looked down the sheet, you could have had several people could have ID'd and just locked in the top 8 before the last round. And I'm glad that people didn't do that, because I think playing it out is the best way to do it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on there, Noah.
All right, what else do we have on here? Oh, you figured out the secret internet problem about the missing Ursula's return promos, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Evidently, a couple of players had called up the store. Did you get the Ursula's return promo cards?
Yeah.
Yes, I got them, in the kit. And the box is still over there. All right, naturally, there's 2 ends to the box, okay? It's a long, it's a square box about this long. And if you open up the bottom part, which Stupid did over here first, as soon as I open up, I see the 2 butt ends of the rolled up mats in there. So I pull out both mats, and then the instruction sheet, which is a 1-page instruction sheet, was rolled in there. And if you look at the bottom, and you didn't really look carefully enough, there's a cardboard flap that had a little circle in it. All I saw was white. So I turned the box over, opened it the way I was supposed to, and lo and behold, the little white envelope with the 4 promo cards was sitting on top. So I bet you a couple of stores opened it up like Stupid did here at the beginning, and opened up the bottom and didn't see anything in it and just tossed the thing away, and then called up the distributor or contacted Ravensburger and said, hey, we didn't get the promos. And I've heard a couple of stores that did. Now, it's possible that they didn't have them in there to begin with.
I doubt that.
It's possible, Noah. I mean, it really is.
It is, but it's more likely that these people just threw the box away with the promos in it.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Than it is that Ravensburger just shipped mats with no promos.
Yeah, so Ravensburger's not making good on it. They're not making good from what I've heard.
What are they supposed to do? This would be an open area for fraud.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get my promos. Could you please send me another set of 4?
Yeah. Did we talk about that one store that wanted to hold back one
we didn't talk about that on the podcast. I think I told you about it on Friday.
Talk about it on the podcast.
There was a Twitter thread that came up. There was a store that had posted their prizing for the set championship, and it was like first place gets a mat and a promo and a bunch of packs. Second place gets a mat and a promo and a bunch of packs. Third place gets a promo and a bunch of packs, and then fourth place gets a bunch of packs. And somebody screenshotted it and put it up on Twitter and was like, what is this nonsense? Like, the prizing for this tournament was set by Ravensburger. Like, you can't do this. And so the store owner posted a response that was very polite and was like, we love the game too, and we play the game, and we would like to have one of the promos for us, so we're keeping it. And then people started screenshotting that and sending it to Ravensburger and having a fit. And within a couple hours, I think there was a retraction posted by the store that was like, we've reread the policies and we understand that we have to use the promos for the tournament. We apologize. We're going to do the promos. Here's the new prize structure. But, Noah,
read rereading the instructions is BS. They knew exactly what the hell they were doing because it was right on the front damn
they
page
got
of it.
crushed in the court of public opinion, and they might have been contacted by Ravensburger.
I wouldn't doubt it. I bet you that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because you can't screw around with things like that. With the public domain where people know everything about everything that's going on, you're going to be, questioned on it. And if you try to do something unethical, which
Right.
I thought was unethical, you're going to get called out on it.
Well, I think that's a big deal, though, and I think it's good. The community held them accountable and
Right.
said, "Hey, you've got to do it the way that they published it." And we try really hard in the store to follow exactly what the different companies have asked. Right? You don't sell things that you've been told you can't sell. You don't put things out for pricing that you're not supposed to. You give out the products when you're supposed to give them out. And I think it's important to follow those rules. And stores like the ones that we've talked about that lost their promo cards or never got them, it's really hard because they know that they shipped them.
Yeah.
And the odds of them having shipped a box that the little flap was empty is very, very small.
Oh, I agree.
And
but
hopefully
there is a possibility.
Hopefully it's an honest mistake and they did just throw them away by accident. But I can empathize why Ravensburger is not going to make good on it. There's nothing to make good on their part. They shipped it.
Yeah. Getting back to Lorcana, one of those three people that came in from, 3.5 hours away, one of the first questions she asked is, am I going to put the pairings up on the screen? I have a television mounted, monitor mounted high. And I said, yeah, I am. Why? She said, well, there's one store that they've been to. They think they manipulate the pairings and they want to see it in live action as it happens.
You can't manipulate the pairings on Melee because anybody that's part of the tournament can see it on their phone.
I know, but maybe she didn't know that. I don't know, but I put it up on the screen. Everybody could see it. Unfortunately, it's not very big, and I have to figure out how to make the.
We can adjust it if we needed to, but I think people see it. We read it out. It's fine. I thought we ran a really clean event on Saturday.
We did. I'm proud of the way
people were happy. Everybody got along well. It went really smooth. There was no real time issues. We had a couple of matches go to time, but people were really responsible with their turns and they made it, go well.
Did you hear one player from another store said he really appreciated the way we kept things rolling?
Yeah.
He said because it was fast. As soon as the round was done, we announced the next pairings and we kept things rolling. He said other stores that he's been at, they just drag their heels and they're not attentive to that. It's people's time. And it's my time too. And
that's in the store. You're a retail shop owner. You're not getting paid hourly to be here. You get paid by what comes across the table in terms of transactions. And at some point, your shop is closed at 7, right, on a Saturday.
Usually.
And you're still rolling deep on this tournament. Hopefully people in the tournament are still buying stuff from you, but the more you're sitting here, the less your hourly conversion rate is. So.
Yeah, I don't even think about it that way. I mean, you got to do what you got to do to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
And I've always been that way with tournament play. I value people's time. I try to keep things rolling, especially the Yu-Gi-Oh guys. I'm always on their case.
Yeah.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have an automatic reporting on their phone. And I'll watch the guys. I'll say, hey, you guys finished? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what the hell are you waiting for? Tell me the results so I can get rolling.
Well, we were on top of that for this, too. A lot of people did self-report Melee on their phones. I think there was one round where I was the last game. We went to turns and had a draw. And that was probably the slowest turnaround we had because then I had to run around to the computer and redo, set the pairings and stuff like that.
I appreciate your help.
But
I mean, I know how to do it, but I was dealing with customers at the counter too.
It's not something that you should have to do like with a one-person show. I mean, you can't run the counter and run the tournament effectively.
I'm invincible.
You're good at it, though. You've done it for a long time, but I'm glad I could help. All right. I know we're going long on the news, but there's a couple other things that I think need to be talked about. And then we can talk briefly about the main topic that I had written out. But we've also talked a lot about the market as part of a main topic. But more Lorcana news. Ravensburger has announced an errata to a printed card. A lot of people that were in the store. Now, this is, I kind of think this is a little bit funny chuckle for me. People kept saying like, oh my gosh, no physical card game has ever done this. And I'm like, you guys are so young. They used to, in the 90s, errata cards in every card game.
Explain what errata means.
So errata means that they announce a change to the printing of the card. So in this situation, a Bucky is a 2-cost character card in Lorcana. It's got an ability ward, and it has an ability that makes you discard cards when you play certain types of other characters. And people haven't liked playing against this card. The people figured out how to use it really effectively to make it hard for your opponent to play. You discard all of their cards out of their hand and then keep them from being able to play every turn. And it can be really oppressive, and it can be very difficult and unfun to play with. And people on the internet have hated it. It has been widely popular in the big tournaments. It was half of the top 64 meta in one of the big tournaments. Like, people hate the card, though.
Which means that Big Brother, being Ravensburger, has paid attention to it.
So they hear the outcry from the public.
Good.
And they're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. Starting August 9th, the card costs 3 instead of 2. It no longer has the special ability ward, and its special discard ability only works when you do this other really difficult thing to do, so you can't do it as easy anymore. So it's expensive, easy to kill, and it doesn't work the way it did anymore.
Good.
They basically deleted the card. Like, it's not playable anymore.
And they're reprinting the card with the new...
They're reprinting the card in the new languages.
Right.
So the reason that they said they had to announce the errata when they did was because they were sending a new set of language printings to production, and they want the new foreign language printings to have the card printed with the right text on it. People were, oh my gosh, I've never seen this happen with a physical game. This is the first time in history.
No,
it's like, first of all,
it happened with Magic a couple of times.
Magic has done it. I was a big fan of the Decipher Star Wars CCG, and that game had a book. There was a book that they published every year that had all of the errata in it.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
And people at tournaments would hold the book at the table so that we could show each other what the cards did, because the printed cards didn't do what they did anymore. And they didn't reprint the cards. They didn't have a trade-in program. One of the guys in the shop on Saturday was like, do you think they're going to do a trade-in program where I can send in all of my Buckies and get new ones?
No.
And I was like, no.
It cost them a fortune to do that.
There's no way.
Why the hell would they want to do that anyway?
Right? So new future printings in English and all languages will have the correct Bucky. But now we've got a bunch. It was a promo card from set 2, wasn't it? So people, that card like spiked in value that day, like up to $20 a pop.
Yep, and I looked through all my promos, and I don't have any of those left.
That's because you gave out your promos like you're supposed to.
I did.
I just think it's interesting, and it's really big news that they've used this method to fix this. We'll keep you updated if we hear anything else about replacement, which would shock both of us.
It's not going to happen.
But, I mean, I think you just play the cards, and people need to know that it's changed. It's the only card in the game that has an errata right now.
Tell them to get over it and move on.
All right, let's move over to Magic, though. So, Magic.
Magic the Gathering.
Magic's the
Gathering. The new set called Bloomburrow is next week, the pre-release, and it's both an in-store and at-home event, and it'll be Friday, July 26th through Sunday the 28th. Now, I'm glad they're still keeping the in-store and at-home events. They started the at-home events during the pandemic, and it's really helped with sales because not everybody wants to come into the store and play. They'll come in, however, and buy, maybe 4, kits to take home and play at their kitchen table.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's great. So I think Magic may have backed into a different type of format with the at-home, which was very advantageous to the stores and naturally to them.
I think the at-home option is a really cool thing. We've talked about it before. I think it's a great thing, and I think they got to perpetuate it because it really does bring people in that weren't going to come, and it sells an extra product to them.
Yep.
So, otherwise, those people might buy a box or so, but now you're selling them the pre-release kit. You're selling them multiple pre-release kits, and they're still buying boxes.
And you still got to sign up, though, so Wizards can keep their damn metrics going for us.
I told you I don't have a problem with that. I like more metric information for us.
But you know how many problems I get from people at,
Yeah.
well, why do I have to?
I joined Team It's a Problem when I talked last time about how it's hard to have kids accounts.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it. This set looks so cool. There's a bunch of nifty, cool things in it, a bunch of little cute critters, a lot of cool alternate art. I think it's going to be super popular. I think people are going to like it. Hopefully the set plays really well in draft. One of the things that really affects how a Magic set does is how interesting the draft format is. And so if we can have an interesting draft format with cool art, with cool concepts, that's a recipe for a winner. And hopefully Bloomburrow's got that.
But still, they're scheduling their pre-release. Because of their scheduling, it has to be certain times. They're scheduling it on the end of July, which is a highly it's a vacation period.
Yeah.
Most people are either going on vacation or they're coming back from vacation. Because I've already had some people say, hey, look, I'm on vacation. I'll be back on Saturday night. I should be there on Sunday. Or, I'm coming back on Thursday. I may be there on Friday night. My regular customers. So it's going to detract from the number of people that are actually in store playing. Hopefully they'll buy more kits to take home, for at-home play.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. We're done with Bloomburrow?
No, because they've done these new packs, and you deleted it out of my thing here.
Oh, what did I delete?
You took out the value boosters.
Oh.
You took it out on purpose, didn't you?
I had a brain fart and just X'd it out.
I took all the old stuff out already.
Yeah, go ahead. You explained it then.
All right, so the other thing that was announced this week that is just absolute nuttery is that Bloomburrow is going to introduce the new value booster to the Magic the Gathering. And let me read from the Magic website what is going to be in these boosters. They are a small, light booster that contains a handful of new cards for any fan to enjoy. A budget-friendly way to experience Bloomburrow. Each value booster will contain 3 commons, 2 uncommons, 1 wild card slot for any rarity, probably a common, and 1 card that could be a land, a traditional foil of any of the cards in the set, or, and this is where I got to hear numbers on distribution, but special guest cards.
Special guest cards?
Yeah, the fancy ones that come in the collector's boosters.
Oh, okay.
So there's a slot in the value booster that could be a land or it could be a $50 card.
That's interesting.
This is full-on lottery tickets, John.
That is interesting.
They have not released any public information about numbers on like how frequently your wild card slot hits like a rare, and they also haven't put forth any information about the frequency of special guests in this pack or foils in this pack.
How are they being distributed, though?
I have no idea.
Because I didn't see it in my order queue.
So
it is coming out with Bloomburrow?
It's coming out. It's got Bloomburrow characters on it. It says at select retailers. So maybe you're just not cool enough in their mind.
Maybe it's a premium store.
I don't think it's premium stores. I think it's Walmart.
Okay.
I mean, that's what
Walmart and Target.
My first thought was this is a like mass retailer thing. These things, and then to add to the deceptiveness of this, the front of the booster package, they've got the hangy tags, the cardboard boxes like shown here, which makes me think Walmart.
Yep.
But it says on the front of the box, contains up to 2 rares.
It could contain it.
Up to.
Yeah.
No, it contains up to 0, 1, 2, mostly 0.
So therefore, they are screwing the regular retailers, and they're going with the big box stores and giving them a product that is not available to the regular retailer.
I don't think you want to sell this product, John. I always have is deceptive.
I would buy a box or 2 just to keep on the shelf, because I think you said the other day, what are they, $2 or something?
It's supposed to be really cheap.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. These packs are designed to take kids' lunch money.
True, but do you realize that people, when they come into the store, they're going to look at a $5 pack and they're going to say, Walmart's got them for $2. And you know how much of an effort it's going to be to explain to them what the difference is?
Look, I understand that. This is a buyer beware thing. if you're going to have your kid buying this stuff and you're going to just let them throw their $2 away on crap packs because you're not willing to spend 30 seconds to consider like the difference between the $2 pack and the $6 pack, like, I think you have a problem.
A new player is not going to know that, though.
No, but I think new players that are teenagers and adults, like you and I and other people in the store, would say to them, like, that's crap and you shouldn't buy that.
Yeah. But grandma taking the kids to Walmart
isn't going to scrutinize it at all.
No, she's going to say, oh, yeah. You
sure, take a $2 pack.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's just blatant dishonesty from Wizards. I think they are just trying to like snag money off of little kids, and it's not. And they're putting a cute little otter on the outside of the pack. I mean, it'd be different if they put like some evil-looking demon that parents are going to be like, oh no, I don't know if I want this. They're putting a cute little fur cuddle buddy on there, and the people are going to be like, oh my goodness, we can buy those for the kids. This is terrible.
It's going to be interesting to see how it's going to pan out.
I think it's bad. I think it's bad. All right. We can be done with the news.
Now, we got Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, we do have Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! There's another big release this week. We just had the premiere the other day. The booster is called the Infinite Forbidden, and I sold out of every premiere pack that I had. And however, getting back to these large events, next week in Austin, Texas, July 19th through the 21st, is the World Championship for 2024 to see who will represent the Yu-Gi-Oh! US at the World Championship.
It's in Austin this weekend?
It's in Austin. It's the Nationals.
Isn't the big Yu-Gi or the big Lorcana tournament in Fort Worth this weekend?
This is in Austin.
Well, Texas is just the mecca of card games this weekend,
it is.
Isn't it?
Well, it is the North American National Tournament. Whoever does well there gets invited to the World Championship. That's
Are we sending anybody?
There's 3 guys going as judges from this store. They're paid judges by by Konami.
No, that's good.
Yeah, it is.
I want them to win the tournament, though.
They're not playing in the tournament. There may be some other players that are going. I don't know, from other stores, but
we need a trophy case, John.
No, we don't.
Yeah,
I have no room for it.
We can find a place for it. If I go win one of these trophies, can we get a trophy case?
No.
Come on.
We'll put it on the shelf in the front, just like my Mickey Mouse up there.
Mouse?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse up there.
We'll put it somewhere.
All right, now where do we go now? What's next?
So there's a couple of things we could talk about. I wanted to talk about product release and how to manage it. Letting people know, how do you tell people about what products are coming out? Do you care about like advertising that to anybody?
Well, I do on my InfoBlast.
Yeah, so talk to me a little bit about how do you get the word out about new sets.
All right,
and stuff.
My InfoBlast is my weekly newsletter, which I gather that information regarding emails from my Loyalties Rewards program. I think I mentioned this once before.
Mm-hmm.
And every week on a Monday, I'll put together the InfoBlast, which I've already done today, and it tells you what to expect this coming week, any other information that you need to know, my hours if they're changing, if I'm on vacation, any codes that you need to know, like, for instance, magic and stuff like that. And I always put what products are available or what upcoming tournaments are available. Then I also put it on Facebook, on my Facebook page. So I use it, there's 2 different ways to see it. And then one of my customers who does Discord, he takes the information that I put on Facebook and he puts it on the Discord. So I have 3 ways of getting that information out. That good?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good. Do you feel like most people get the information about what's coming out from another source, though?
Oh, without a doubt. I also put it on the website sometimes, but being a single store owner like this, it's just too much to do. And the website's easy to manipulate the pages and update them and stuff like that, but it does take time. And sometimes I'll forget, but it's basically word of mouth too.
One of the things in opening up organize play for Star Wars. You and I have had the chance to watch several broadcasts from Southern Hobby and from FFG about their OP program.
Mm-hmm.
And they really touted like their local game store support with their local advertising campaigns, that they were going to push like social media ads and things like that for Star Wars and for the new release of Shadows. Magic does the same thing. I know because I get these ads. I'm a consumer of this stuff. So when I'm on the internet, these are the ads I see. I get the Star Wars ads. I get these ads. I get the Pokemon ads. Like, do you see as a store owner that those ads give you any benefit, or do you think that they're really just driving traffic for the big?
I get probably a little bit of benefit from it. I mean, it's hard to say no. It really is, because I never really looked into it that carefully. But yeah, I'm probably getting some ancillary customers from it.
Okay. One of the things I was looking at on the interwebs the other day was some card stores do pre-sales for new releases.
Right.
We've talked before. You've said on this podcast that you don't do pre-sales anymore.
Not anymore.
Talk to us a little bit about pre-sales, pros and cons. Help us understand why you made that choice and what might go into that choice for other shops.
All right. Pre-sales are beneficial to stores that don't have the money to put out in advance. They'll pre-sell something to somebody, either, like say a new Magic set's coming out. Or let me back up. Say the new Star Wars set's coming out. And all of a sudden you'll see on your order queue that you were possibly getting or getting 72 boxes. So you're saying to yourself, well, how the hell am I going to, spend that kind of money and have them come in? So you'll take pre-sales, and you could say to the customer, I either want half up front, and that's to prevent them from backing out, or I want you to pay everything up front. So then you have that money, so you can turn it around and you can send it to the distributor to get your product. However, the problem is maybe you're not going to get 72 boxes. And that's happened a lot of times to other stores or other online sellers that I've seen. And you may only be allocated 24 boxes. And here you sold 72. So how many is that? 50, I don't know, 50 something boxes. Yeah, 50 boxes.
48 boxes, isn't it?
Yeah, 48 boxes that you've got the money for, but you don't have the product. So then you have to turn around and refund those people all that money because you don't have the product.
And you don't get back credit card processing fees.
No, you don't get back. I mean, then you're going to be paying credit card processing fees to return that money if you do it that way. So I changed my whole,
but we've talked at length about like distribution, and we've talked about the limitations that it causes for new stores, and we're trying to have maybe new store people listen to this podcast a little bit. If they're trying to grow like their store, pre-sales might be a reasonable way for them to minimize risk in terms of stocking a new product, right?
It is, but you have to be careful about how much money you do take in and how many boxes you commit to of a product, because I can almost guarantee it. You're not going to get what you think you're going to get most of the time.
Well, what if you publicize that, though, and you say to your people, you're like, look, I'm taking pre-sales on this. It's subject to allocation, but I'm expecting to get between 20 and 75 boxes. I'll pre-sale up to 75, and it's first come, first serve.
Yeah, I know. That's great. But you're still taking the people's money in advance, which means you still got to return it. Well, so it's a hassle.
And you're taking a risk, but it's less risk than if you just buy 70 boxes and hope that you sell them all.
Well, that's why you don't buy 70 boxes with the hopes of selling it all.
Well, but as a store that's trying to grow, you want to buy as much as you can from distribution as much as possible so that they will give you more later, right?
True, but you got to know what you can sell in advance, too. You got to listen to your customers.
Back to pre-selling.
Right. No, you got to listen to your customers. Now, you got to have a gut feeling. I've always been this way. Money is sitting on the shelves.
Yeah.
It could be dollar bills sitting on the shelf instead of boxes. That money is not going to do me any good if it's just sitting there and not turning over. So that dollar, I wanted to turn to $1.50 or $2. So idle product on the shelf is not good.
Right.
So I always I always order what I think I might be able to sell. I may order a little bit under or a little bit over. And when I have a little bit over, it's sitting on the shelf until I can finally sell it. And it takes a while to get rid of all that product. But you don't order 300 boxes and hope you're going to. That's what happened to a couple of stores. I know one is specific. He bought all these boxes and he got into the distributor for tens of thousands of dollars. Ultimately, he had to shut down his shop and he had to sell his house in order to pay his distributor, because his idea was buying all these boxes, open up packs, selling cards on, online, or selling boxes online. And a product that he bought, which was Magic at the time, it was one of the Commander or Masters or whatever the hell it was. He couldn't sell it, so he got stuck with it. You can't do that, and that's why. Look, I'll do pre-sales in my mind. If this makes any, you come in, you're one of my better customers. Hey, John, are you getting Bloomburrow? Yes, I am. How many boxes of this are you going to get? Well, I'm getting 8 collector packs or 8 collector boxes, and collector boxes are pretty expensive. They're selling for like $350 on an average a box.
Yeah,
and that person will say, "I want one." Okay, I'll put you on the sheet, Pete. Pete, 1 box of this, 1 box of that, 1 box of this, and I know Pete's going to come in and he's going to buy it when the product comes in, but I'm not going to take a list of 50 players and commit to it, because you'd be a damn fool. You can't afford it to begin with.
There's a lot of logistical problems with that, right?
Yeah.
Like you get the person number 2 and they don't answer the call, and do you sell to 3, 4, 5? Do you sell to number 25 when number 2 hasn't called you back?
I don't have that patience anymore. Right. I mean,
well, it's a good way to get lost in the minutia, right? But
I'll give you, for instance,
put it on the shelf and you sell it off the shelf, you got what you need.
This is just a small incident. Somebody wanted a box of the new Dragon Shield Anniversary Blue Silver shield or sleeves. All right, they're called Dragon Shield sleeves.
Yeah.
So I got a box of 10 because they're a little bit cheaper. I think 50 cents a pack cheaper. Well, I took his out, put his name on it, put it in the order queue, so it's sitting there, so I can't sell it. It's on my desk. And all the other 9 sold just like that on Saturday because it was a good product.
It's a cool color.
I just noticed I can't get any more. They're sold out already.
Ooh.
So I have his 1 box. He couldn't come on Saturday, and he's the one that wanted it.
Yeah.
So I sent him a text. I said, "I'll hold it till Friday. If you're not here on Friday, it goes back on the shelf." And there'd be no problem with selling it. I hate to do that, but he wanted it, and he's not going to pick it up. Suppose it was a $350 box of something.
Well, you don't have the storage space to just become everybody's like, "I'll buy it when I've got the money."
Right. Oh, I've had that happen before, right? Too. I've had that before.
All right. In a related vein, why don't we talk about purchase limits? So not like pre-sales, but like when somebody comes in the shop this week and they say, "Hey, I want to buy Star Wars. I know you've got a 1 box per person limit going." Like, what goes into your decision to put a limit on a product? Because if I come in next week and I want to buy 10 boxes of Bloomburrow, I'm just limited by how many you've got on the shelf right now.
Yeah, because I can always get more Bloomburrow.
How do you know that?
Because my distributor told me they're getting a second wave. And Magic is good about getting products out very quickly, whereby Star Wars is not. The next reprint or the next wave of this particular second set is probably a month out. So I got 24 boxes in originally. So I said, "Self, you got to make sure that you have enough to sustain the league and some extra packs for people if they want them for the next month at least." So what I did, if you look up there on the shelf, there's 6 boxes or 7 boxes up there. I think there's 2 or 3 on the shelf. I'll sell those 2 or 3, and then I'll start going into those just to make sure that I have enough. And by all means, if I get more product before this month is over, that's great. That's gravy. That's more product that I can sell.
Yeah.
But I'm hedging my bet saying, by precedence, they're not going to get this out very quickly.
But didn't they promise that they were going to do better this time?
They did. they did promise to get the software out too, and they didn't do that either.
Man. Well, okay, so is it mostly just newer card games and newer products that you have to put a box limit or a purchase limit on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something established like Magic, you don't have any distribution worries.
Well, except for some of the premier products, like when it comes to the collector,
the MH3 Commander decks.
the Commander MH, right? The Modern Horizons 3.
Did you have a product limit on that?
I only got 2 boxes of the collectors, the expensive ones, and I got 4 or cases, I should say, which contains 4 boxes, and they're all one set. And I got 4 of the regular ones, and that was it. That's all I can get. I just tried to get another box of MH3 collectors, but they're sold out already. Now I probably could get them from another distributor. However, this is where you have to say, hey, it may sell, but the new product's coming out. It's got more stuff that's being sold. People are going to divert their attention from this to this. That'll sit there on the shelf. No, I'm not going to waste my money putting it on the shelf with the anticipation and the hopes that it's going to sell.
Yeah.
So it's a gut feeling. It's from knowing how to do this over the years.
What I'm hearing from you is a lot of the limits or purchase limits that you set are distribution based. And once you know that you're going to have trouble getting, you try to meter out how it's going to leave the store.
You have to. And again, you have to satisfy the people who come in on a weekly basis to support your store. I want to make sure that I have enough packs. And I did this with Lorcana when it first began. And I did it with Star Wars with the first set. And I'm going to continue doing it with the second set. I want to make sure that I have enough product for my regular customers to at least sustain the weekly play, 1 pack, 1 promo pack. Or if they want, hey, I'll let you guys buy 4 packs today. Next week, you can buy another 4. And then the following week, if the projected second wave is maybe 2 months out, I'll say, hey, guys, I don't have enough. You can buy 2 packs this day, and you have to think ahead. You have to be smart about it, because a lot of stores are probably out of this stuff already. All they care about is making the immediacy of the product. Yeah, and I won't do that.
We've talked about the fact that the games are a social experience too, and you're trying to keep that community built.
Yeah.
Let's talk quickly about pricing. How do you set pricing for a new product?
Check out the competition.
Well, you have a couple of ways that you do it. Your POS software helps you aggregate pricing from the major online distributors.
It does. I mean, there's 3 ways. It takes it from, well, there's a proprietary thing that I don't know how they come up with this number. Mm-hmm. There's TCG pricing that you can put it at. You can put it at eBay pricing, and you can put it at Amazon pricing. Mm. However, I look at all 3 of them when I'm pricing something. And some of them have absolute MSRPs on it. Some of them don't, like Magic. Magic is the Wild West out there. And it's whatever the buyer will be willing to pay for it. And I know that some stores jack up the prices exorbitantly. And what I do is I look at other stores' prices, because a lot of people get online and they'll put their tournaments up there real quick, and they'll put their pricing up there real quick. I don't do that. I lay back. I know what I'm paying for the product. Maybe not until the last minute do I know what I'm paying for the product. And then I'll look at what this store is doing, what that store is doing. And it's not only in this geographic area. I look outside this area and see what other stores are doing to get an idea of the pricing. And being a small store, again, having less of an overhead, I can afford to set the price lower. Yeah. For instance, Yu-Gi-Oh! Their MSRP on the new set, or the last couple of sets, have been $4.99 a pack. I'm selling for $4.49 a pack. All right, so that's 50 cents a box. 50 cents a pack. That's $12 a box. Basically, I'm selling less for. Yeah. But I can absorb that, and it pays.
Still turn a profit. You don't sell
turn a profit. No, I'm not selling at a loss. I'm turning a profit. I'm keeping the doors open. I'm not driving around in a brand new, expensive $100,000 car. Well, it's brand new because I leased the damn thing, but it's not $100,000. Don't give me that look. It's a leased vehicle.
That's pretty luxury, man.
No, it's a Honda, for crying out loud.
It's a reliable luxury.
It's a reliable luxury, yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that insight into the pricing. I just think it's important for people to know one thing that you said and maybe slipped in there is that a lot of products that come in this marketplace don't have MSRP. There's a lot of like flexibility to what you can sell a product for, and I think that you have a good theory about how you do that based on what other people are selling for and what your customer base can support. So I appreciate that. Let's take a look. Well, why don't we just wrap up this discussion? I was going to ask a little bit about sealed products and opening sealed products, but you talked about how that
we could talk about that next week.
Yeah, we can talk about that another time. You've talked about it before, and you did mention today that you don't think it's a very wise thing to be cracking a bunch of boxes open just to try to get singles. So why don't we move on? It looks like you've set up a little game show for us today, John. It's time for the 3 E's. For those of you who are joining us for the first time or maybe for the third time and haven't made it this far into the episode, we are going to do the 3 E's, where John educates, enlightens, and entertains us, well, at least me. And in this episode of the 3 E's, John says, and I quote, "I'm hiding them from Noah so that I can spring them on him."
All right, here. I'll let you read the damn cap.
Oh,
you read the cap.
All right.
This is my fun part of the day, guys.
We'll hold this like this so people can see. This is an actual Snapple cap that we can scan for fun, but we're going to read it for fun. So it says, real fact number 310. The word facetious features all the vowels in alphabetical order.
Yeah, I never knew that.
That is a true fact. I'm looking at them.
All right. The word facetious is spelled FACETIOUS. So it's got all 5 vowels in it in alphabetical order. A, E, I, O, U. And for those of you who don't know what facetious means, it's not to be taken seriously or literally. It's a facetious remark, something that's humorous, non-essential, or frivolous, or a frivolous person, or facetious person.
A facetious person.
Right.
Yeah.
And just for the hell of it, because of all these crazy names that are out there, I got on YouTube Facebook, and typed in facetious to see if there was any last names on there. Because people name their kids stupid things sometimes. I thought I'd see a facetious Jones or Baker or something like that, but the only thing I saw was Festus.
I had a friend that had all the vowels in his last name, but they weren't in order A, E, I, O, U. I will say, though, that when I was taught the vowels, it's A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y
and W.
And there is no Y in facetious.
No. But sometimes the traditional is 5 vowels.
Your grammar lesson for the week from John and Noah. We appreciate you joining us.
I wanted to talk about aspirin, too.
What did you just say?
Aspirin.
Oh, man, I thought you went way out of bounds.
No, I'm not going to talk about aspirin because we're on, an hour and 22 minutes as it is, or 23 minutes.
We're a little over the top.
We'll save this for next week.
We had a heavy news week.
Next week, we're going to talk about acetylsalicylic acid, which is commonly called aspirin.
Yes.
All right. And if aspirin were to be introduced today into the market, it would definitely be a prescription product because of the medicinal purposes to it. I know this for a fact because coming from the pharmaceutical industry, I had to package this crap. And this stuff is tough to package. I'll explain it next week.
I got a friend that runs a factory where they produce Dayquil and NyQuil, and the stories he tells me are very fun.
Oh, I can imagine.
All right, let's talk closing things down here, John. You said you wanted to do a shout-out real quick as part of our closing before we get into it?
Yeah, actually, one of our patrons, Ben, he noticed a couple of weeks ago I had burned my finger. I had put a coffee cup with water into the microwave, and it was a stoneware type false craft. And I didn't realize how hot the damn thing got. So I went there to reach and grab it. And all of a sudden I got burned. I had a pretty good blister on, and water went all over the place. And fortunately, it didn't get on me and I didn't burn myself other than my finger. So Ben came into the store and he looked at my finger and he said, "What happened to you?" And I explained it to him. He said, "You ought to get an electric teapot." I said, yeah, one of these days I'll get over there. So this was about a month ago. So Saturday he came in and he had bought me an electric teapot.
Look at that.
I said to him, how much do I owe you for it? He said, John, he said, you've done a lot for me. He said, you've made some price concessions. And he said, I just appreciate what you do. And he gave me an electric teapot, which I thought was really nice. So I wanted to shout out to Ben to say thank you. That was very considerate.
Well, I think that's fantastic. All right, well, let's wrap it up today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week on Card Shop Insiders. We are so grateful for your support and listening. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, and follow us on all the different platforms. The podcast is now available on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube, and you can follow us on social media at Card Shop Insiders on both Instagram and X. I'll make a special plea for you to check us out on YouTube, where we're going to try to update all of the content. Hopefully soon we'll have every episode up on YouTube. If you've already heard those episodes, please play them, listen to them, like them. Leave us a comment there.
And subscribe to YouTube.
And hit us a subscribe on that platform, because that platform has a very invasive algorithm that gets this content in front of more people. And we really do want to try to get this in front of as many people as possible, not just because of our own egos, but because we think that we're sharing something that can build a community that will benefit all of you. Speaking of community, we do have Patreon available, where we have a basic tier subscription that gets you right now access to behind-the-scenes video of John and I talking about the episode, both before and after our recording session, as well as an opportunity to engage directly with John and I through the Patreon message board. We'd like to acknowledge our patrons and read out their names on our episodes. Thank you, guys. We've got Ben, Brandon, Grant, Logan, and Drayden. Thank you all so much for supporting our efforts and supporting us with your wallets. If you'd like to interact with the show or have questions you'd like to see, the best place to do that is in a YouTube video comment, although you can hit us up with a DM on one of the other platforms. Neither John nor I are particularly big fans of the daily social media engagement, and so we try our best to answer those quickly. But YouTube would be the best place to do it because it benefits us the most, too. Finally, suppose you're able, willing, and interested to contribute to the show financially. In that case, join the Patreon and enjoy the benefits of our basic tier, which hopefully soon will include stickers of something fun.
We've been promising stickers.
I've designed the stickers.
You have?
Yeah, I designed the stickers.
All right.
So we're working on designing the stickers. I do want to make a #1 fan sticker for Ben, because he was the #1 patron. But I
told you what that should be, and I'm not going to do it again.
You don't have to do it again. This is the G-rated version of the video. We're still on YouTube.
I can still do that.
No, not on YouTube.
Yes, you can.
Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good day.